This is Diana Nyad, the first person ever to complete the epic 110-mile swim from Cuba to Florida without any help, battling fatigue and poisonous jellyfish. Wearing only a thin fabric suit, she was swimming through some of the most dangerous waters on Earth. It took 53 hours and she didn't sleep or even stop while covering a distance of 110 miles. It was a feat that most open water experts had concluded was impossible without the shark cage. Most of the swimmers, including Nyad, have tried and failed at it for years. Her first attempt was in 1978 at the age of 28. 2 years later, she retired from competitive swimming for good and spent the next 30 years working as a sport broadcaster. And then, when Nyad reached the age of 60, her mother died and she decided to try again. She said, "I just didn't want to have any regrets. I kept on thinking about all the things in my life I could have done differently. My mother died at the age of 82 and I realized I might only have 22 years left and I just wanted to make sure I really lived them." She gave up 29 hours in after an asthma attack. Later that year, she tried again, and wearing nothing but a swimming costume, she was surrounded and attacked by box jellyfish, one of the most dangerous creatures on Earth. The next year, she tried again, and after more jellyfish in a storm, she failed again. Each attempt was an expedition with a huge team of shark divers, medics, and support staff. It had taken over the lives of everyone she knew, and her closest friends begged her to give it up. But she wouldn't. And in 2013, at the age of 64, she finally succeeded. When she reached the shore at Key West, her 64-year-old body was barely able to walk. Her face was swollen and wrinkled, hardly able to speak. She looked like the survivor of some horrific disaster. And actually she was. She said, "I remember coming out and seeing the faces of the crowd on the beach just so emotionally wrought. I realized afterwards they weren't crying because somebody finally made it or somebody set some sport record. They were crying because they saw someone who refused to give up." Just 2 months before her final attempt, Nyad watched one of the strongest swimmers in the world, 28-year-old Chloe McCardle. She was stung by a box jellyfish. She said that it was the most excruciating pain of her life. In fact, most people who were stung by a box jellyfish died in 90% of cases. It's the deadliest poison on Earth today. It paralyzes your spinal cord and stops your breath. Nyad spent months and months finding someone to make her a silicone mask to protect her against the jellyfish. It was painful, but it meant she could carry on. Today, Nyad is a 73-year-old woman who is openly lesbian, and she said a factor in her determination while swimming was her anger and her desire to overcome sexual abuse she experienced as a child. She is an author of several books, including the memoirs Other Shores and Find a Way, the latter of which focuses on her historic swim. She was inducted into the International Marathon Swimming Hall of Fame and International Women's Sport Hall of Fame.